Hi, my name is Nathan Thornberry. I'm with Residential Warranty Services, and I'm here on a Saturday with Mr. Mike Gaines. And he works as a supervisor in our warranty claims division. And I want to talk to you about the 30 steps to career greatness, which has been renamed because of this guy. He came to me after getting promoted to supervisor, which didn't take that long.
Not really.
No, not at all. And he came to me after that, and he was, working his butt off in it and delivering for our clients, which is what we want to see from everybody, of course. And he says to me one day, "How do I level up?" Which appealed to me as some sort of a Super Mario Brothers thing. But either way, it became the title of this presentation today, and I'm going to put that up on the screen here for all of you to see. And here it is. You should have it on your screen in just a little version of me and Mike Gaines. By the way, there's an empty chair that's in another room here at our headquarters in Carmel, Indiana, that Mike will go to in a second so that it's easier to see us interacting. But we wanted to start here to show you that we're in the same place.
Yes.
We're definitely here. This is not like some magic trick. So Mike, why don't you go take your spot over there? Great. See you in a minute.
See you in a minute.
All right. So like I said, we're calling this presentation Level Up. That is something that was named by this guy, Mike Gaines. And he's joining me today on a weekend when we could both spare an hour uninterrupted. He's a member of our leadership team here at Residential Warranty Services, and we're going to get right to it as soon as he makes it over there. Oh, there he is.
Hey.
And the purpose of all of this, for all of you watching, whether you're a staff member, staff of one of our partners in the industry, and even people that neither Mike nor myself have ever met or have any real interaction with, to define your own path. And before you get an ego about this, if you're, an entrepreneur, which, all entrepreneurs have a special place in my heart, this is for you too. This is a fairly universal list of how you define a great career. And I'm going to warn you on the front end, this is not the definition of a great life. This is not how you have incredible balance in your life, or do yoga better, or eat kale more, or any of those things. This is pure capitalistic career path growth and leveling up in that. And it's to give you an understanding that there is no barrier to success in your career except for two basic things. One is a lack of knowledge in what it takes to get where you want to be. And two is a lack of desire to actually, do that. And it's not easy. There's a lot of hard work that goes into being successful. It can be fun. It should be fun. You should love what you do. But there's nothing that we can do here today, Mike, to change anyone's desire. We can't do that.
Right.
But and what does that desire lead to? A higher tax bracket. We can't change their desire, but we can give you the knowledge for that. So welcome to Level Up, inspired by Mr. Mike Gaines. So let's get right to it. By the way, Mike, how long have you been with us?
I've been with this a year and a half now.
All right. Well, I hope you're still here in 20 years, like I've been here for 20 years, and I still love it every single day. And let's start with uh, part one of your career greatness. 30 steps to leveling up. The first thing that you need to do is find a path, a point of entry to what you want to do. And there are a lot of jobs out there. I promise you can find something that is of your particular taste, whether you're wearing a white coat or the nerdy glasses, or you're sitting there on a computer screen, or you're wearing a blazer and a pantsuit, or a blue collar. Decide where you want to be and what you're passionate about, and also mix that with what has the best opportunity. Okay, so I have some friends from high school, from from junior high that I've kept up with, and there are some that have done amazing things that are really like popular. Like you go, wow, that guy toured with a rock band, like a big one,
Yeah.
and you think that's pretty cool, and he probably had some amazing times on the road. But that isn't the thing that gets you on a career path. If there's a long line to something because it's fun, then it probably isn't going to pay that well, right? So, I'm really passionate about real estate and everything around it. I'd like to think that if I had chosen a different path, that I could have been just as passionate about it in many ways, perhaps different ways. And if I had been in the automotive industry, for example, that I would have tried to get to a point in my career where I could influence design of a vehicle, or make some good old American classics look a little bit more Italian. I would dig that.
Yeah.
Simplify some engineering and make it a little bit more German. But anyway, those would be the kind of things that I would gravitate towards because I'm very technical. And maybe I could eliminate some of the things that auto manufacturers have to go through right now that inflates the prices. And that would be safety testing. Maybe I could innovate safety testing so that cars could be more affordable for everyday folk. That might have been my thing. But Mike, you're here. Why here? Why? You could pick a path. You could have done a million things. You could have been an astronaut. Why here at Residential Warranty Services?
Um, Something led me here. I've done a million things. I've had a lot of jobs, from warehouse to working in the ER at Riley Hospital and chauffeuring. I got here and I got hooked. I got hooked to helping the team, being able to help people, being able to try to solve problems. Um, that really got me. And
And
that,
that's, what? That's a great point. It's not necessarily, where you are working every day. It's what you're doing and in what capacity you're interacting with other humans. That's exactly where I hoped you would go, and you did. So first step, you got to pick a path, and sometimes we have to go pick the wrong path a few times to end up at the right path, and that nothing wrong with that. So second step is to get your affairs in order. Now, um, if you have addiction, if you have abusive relationships, if you're suffering financial hardship with nothing but uh, debt collectors calling you, if you have bad interpersonal relationships, you know, you could even have some simple things that are wrong in your life. Like, for instance, you go home to a place with nothing but a single used couch that you found on the side of the road that has blood stains on it. Okay. Like, that is going to be the kind of stuff that you bring to work. Um, you know, you don't have to be crazy OCD like me. There are some things that led to doing it in ways that are healthy. And I put a couple of logos up here. My dual alma maters, which was Culver Military Academy and Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School, which is a high school here, a private high school here in Indianapolis. And over the summers, it was, you have to make your bed a certain way. A quarter has to bounce off of it, and it has to be by certain measurements, and that has to be done by 5:30 in the morning. Okay, so that leads you to doing that and getting into routines. You should have routines that are healthy, and then Brebeuf was a good competitive environment, and I do give both of those some credit. You don't have to be like crazy OCD. Everything has to be perfect and clean all the time to be there, but you need to have your affairs in order to where your personal life won't affect your career. Okay. Won't affect your ability to move forward. And, you probably have some definition for what is healthy or unhealthy in your own life, whoever you are watching this. So, deal with that. And there's enough said on that. We don't need to get too personal on that stuff. Now let's go to number 3. This is a big one. And this is where people really start failing. I mean, they start failing in, the allowing their personal life to harm their career all the time. But you got to show up for the game. All right.
Right.
The kids that got perfect attendance in fifth grade, they did all right for themselves. All
Yes.
right. It's the same as an adult.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
Okay.
And people think that sometimes that even if they have a good excuse not to show up, that that's okay, that makes it okay. Oh, I wasn't feeling great that day. Oh, I was a little sick, or oh, I had to do X. And really, most of those things are avoidable and movable, and flexible to some extent. If you wanted to move it, 90+% of the time you could. Do you agree with that, Mike?
I do.
Uh,
Yeah.
and by the way, your attendance is pretty damn awesome, isn't
I live here.
it? Well, we appreciate that. And it's not that you have to live here, but I do because I love it. And
But that's the same with me. I like it here. I don't mind. I don't mind it.
good. And I want everybody to get to that point in whatever you do. That you're like that eventually you say, well, gosh, I have a few extra, square feet in my office. I want a couch here, just in case. You know.
Yeah.
All right. So going past that step, then you need to get a base of knowledge. All right. And this is in any career, in any path, you need that base of knowledge where you understand what your role is. You understand, in a real sense, what your company does or what your mission is. Understand the lingo, know the history. What year were we started, by the way? What year was this company founded, Mike? I'm putting you on the spot.
1988.
Ah, there we go. And here I'll try to stump you on the lingo, on the acronyms, because you should understand it, all the acronyms. If you hear somebody wherever you work say an acronym, then and you don't know what it is, you got a problem. So I'll give you an acronym. You tell me what you think it means. BAM, BAM.
That's the BAM dashboard.
Right. What does BAM stand for? It's an acronym.
Not too sure.
All right. Well, you're going to learn something today. I could have given you a lot of easier ones that are more, internal admin,
Right.
helping customer interaction. But BAM stands for Broker Agent Marketing Dashboard.
Okay.
But anyway, so you learn something. I figured it would stump you. You
Yep.
should know. You should understand the acronyms. You should understand the competition and the partners too. So if we're working with a company in some way in the marketplace, whether it be one of our warranty dealer partners, one of our inspection companies that works with us to deliver lower risk to buyers and sellers and real estate agents in that real estate market, whatever it may be, you should understand their business too, to some extent. You don't have to be obsessive over it, but you should understand. And you should read things and you should watch things and you should make it your passion. And if you can't do that, you're probably in the wrong place. So then we get on to the next thing. Now, this is intentionally a little funny. Okay, it's an ode to TSA
Right.
post 9/11 when they started doing crazy things, just things that you go, wow.
Yeah.
It's kept us safe, I think, but wow.
Yeah.
And if you're in this picture, I see a TSA agent and they're going a little far.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, somebody else there, some other TSA agent should speak up. And I love this phrase, see something, say something, which was used a lot in TSA promotions after 9/11, because it's just amazing to me how many people in this world see something and do not say something. They
Yeah.
don't say something. They don't do anything. There have been reality shows about this, to see how
Yeah.
far people will go, like with someone beating a child before they actually say something. And it's this idea. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not like this. If I see something, I'm going to say something. I mean, to the point that I might offend somebody and have many times. But it pays to be a snitch, if you will, in your career, because it's not good for the person who, let's just say that you're working in wherever you work, you have coworkers that have similar jobs to you. You understand their jobs, and one of them is doing something that isn't correct, isn't treating clients well, isn't helping with the mission, or is harming the business in some way. And you go, man, I don't want to get them in trouble. I just don't want to get them in trouble. I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're letting them go on, down a dark path where they're going to get fired.
Right.
Like the end of that isn't as good as stopping it right there, pulling
Right.
them aside and saying, hey, I don't like that. This isn't how I was taught. I really think that we need to improve this, and then going to your supervisor or however you're going to deal with it. But it's not good for the problem to continue being a problem. And by the way, how valuable do you think it makes you, Mike, to have been witness to a problem?
It doesn't make you valuable at all.
Yeah. Once you do that and you don't say anything, it's like,
I'm
it's
part
like,
of the problem.
yeah, exactly. And people don't get that. So, this is just kind of a good rule for life. And, I will not forget one of the first times that we met after you'd been here for several months, and you said, hey, I see this happening and I don't really like that. Can we do something different on this? And when you brought it to me, I, you have to handle things differently depending on what position you're in. My response was, oh yeah, let's try that. But in my head I was screaming and throwing things through my walls going, yeah, I remember saying exactly that when I made the damn rules people aren't following. Eh, so say something, it's worth it. So this one's going to probably be a little controversial, but this is the next thing. You got to make a financial challenge for yourself. Once you're in that place where you have a good career path, or you have the right industry, you're committed to it, you're passionate, you're learning about it. Then the next thing is that you make it difficult for yourself. And this is going to be controversial to some extent, because there are people like Dave Ramsey who go on radio shows and tell people, oh no, you got to get rid of debt. You can't have any debt. Debt's bad.
Right.
Well, that's not exactly true. You need a fire under your butt.
Mm.
And I put this picture here because this isn't the car, but back in 2003, I bought a brand new Porsche.
Mm.
I like Porsches. I had no business buying a brand new Porsche in 2003. I had, a couple of kids.
Right.
I had a business that was, doing pretty well. We were a 7-figure company back then.
Right.
And I worked 24/7 making that happen. And I felt like I had earned it. But really what it did was, here's that carrot, that thing that you want. I'm
Mhm.
going to get it. And then
Mhm.
financing, AKA debt, makes it so you get to taste that carrot, and then you got to keep chasing it.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. And Mike, you have kids,
Yeah.
so what's your motivation? Do you have a financial challenge? Does every day you want to make this go further because it's going to make things better in your life?
Yeah. The financial challenge with me is the house. We're in the apartment. We're outgrowing the apartment. 3 kids. I got my mother-in-law, my wife there. Losing my mind. We need more space.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what's driving me.
And at this point, okay, and we've discussed this, and unfortunately, we're gonna detour for a couple of financial lessons along the way,
Mhm.
because you see this just here at headquarters. We have 100 plus people, and that's just one location here, and I can't talk to all of them,
Right.
and HR can't talk to all of them and give these levels of financial advice, but you should be looking at houses.
Yeah.
Okay, and I would say this to anybody in this company that has made it to a supervisor, manager, or above level. If you do not own your own property, uh, that's a problem for me, and it should be a problem for you. And many people believe that it's very difficult to solve that. It is not.
Mm.
There are loan programs that make it very easy to get into that first time home,
Right.
that starter house, if you will.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is you need to start getting qualified for that mortgage if you haven't already started that process, and you make it happen.
Right.
and then you go and you search and you buy your house. Okay. And
Yep.
I'm going to be mad at you if you don't own a great house in the next 90 to 120 days. Like seriously, I'm going to personally punish you in some way. I don't know how, but you need to do it. You know, it's available. And will it cost more than your apartment, you think?
Um, maybe not.
Well, it it probably will. Okay, from a cash flow basis, buying and owning, and in some markets around the country, you know, like we have our lab down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Right.
You know, if you're within 10 blocks of the coast, and if you're in one of these nice uh, up and coming neighborhoods or established neighborhoods inland, man, I don't know how anybody affords to buy property down there. It's crazy. You
Yeah.
know, like one bedroom condominiums on Fort Lauderdale Beach going for 850,000. It's nonsense.
Right.
And so I can't say the same thing everywhere, but there's always a neighborhood, an area, town where there are family homes and they are available, and you're probably going to pay more on a cash flow basis than you do for rent,
Mm.
but you get to take all of the interest that you paid towards your mortgage, and that comes off of your federal income tax calculation.
Mm.
Okay. So, did it really cost you that much on a cash flow basis? Yes. At the end of the year, no. And if you're like here in Indiana, and it's been a long time since I rented, but the last time I rented, and I went to the tax guy and
Mhm.
said, "Hey," and by the way, my entire rental was about like 2 months worth of rental before I was like, "I'm out of here. I gotta buy."
Right.
I was just going just as crazy as you.
Right.
Um, but that 2 months worth of rental, I was able to only write off so much on state taxes at the end of the year. And as I recall, it was limited to like $1,500, and that's back in the year 2000. So it's
Right.
been a while. Maybe it's changed, but it's still better to have that mortgage.
Yeah.
So give yourself a financial challenge. Next thing you do, and and I think Mike Gaines does this pretty good. You know, you commit and you deliver. You make it happen. Um, you are productive.
Thanks.
You're effective. You're efficient. You're not wasting your time. Um, you know, I'm not. I don't discriminate against anybody
Right.
for any reason. But damn, if you're going outside every hour on the hour to have a cigarette, you know how productive and efficient and effective for clients can you be? Um and some people are good at making up for that, but I'm not really bashing smokers here. It's just one of those things that is one of a great example of one of thousands of ways that you can fall short of committing and delivering. And there's really something to be said about follow up. And so, Mike, I'll ask you this question. You probably deal with quite a few claims situations in a day as a supervisor in at residential warranty services. How many claims situations would you say you touch in a day?
I majority of them, they come through in a day, to be honest.
Okay,
I
so I'm saying like in a number. So there are some that hit your desk. There are many that hit your desk,
Yeah.
and you make sure that you touch all of them before the end of the day, before you're out of here. I get that. I love that about Mike Gaines. That's part of commitment. You know, you have X amount of things in front of you to do. You make sure they're done. You don't cut out until it's done, until the client's delivered for. Love that about you. That's part of commit and deliver. I was really getting at, if you touch 60 claim situations in a day, 100 claim situations in a day. And I'd say it's probably between those two numbers on most days. So how many of those have a little either note on a notepad
Mhm.
or a mental note of I got to do this by the end of the day for the next day?
Almost all of them, like
All
about 60. Yeah.
right.
I
So
usually put it right there with what needs to be done.
right.
Yep.
So you have this follow-up, making sure that when you make a promise, you keep it. And that's important no matter what industry you're in. Obviously, with on the warranty side of things, it's pretty damn important. But It's really important everywhere. And um, you know, if someone has to follow up with you to know where something is at, that's a problem. If your boss says, or your supervisor, or your manager, or your crazy CEO, or whatever, if they say, "Hey, I'd really like to see, this," and it's a report, it's a presentation, it's a modification to a website, whatever it might be, and you go, "Okay, okay," and look them in the eye, and or you take the email and respond and say, "Got it," and copy, whatever, and then 3 months later they have to ask you, "Hey, whatever happened to that?" You failed. You need to have a list of stuff that you commit to. That will make you more valuable in terms of what you deliver for your company and what you get paid and how awesome of a Mercedes you show up with to work. Now, if you commit and deliver and you do that well, you're going to get noticed. There is not anyone that commits and delivers that doesn't get noticed eventually. Sometimes you have to raise your hand and say, "Hey, I did this." We have some pretty good systems here. Our bonus program, Mike, you like that?
I like it. I
All
like
right. And it's this crazy system where, we can tell what kind of interactions, what kind of phone time, what kind of uh, uh, email volume, number of completed tasks. We take all of that, we put it into a formula, and we go, here's how effective somebody is on an hourly basis, and here's how many days they were here. They had perfect attendance, and they had shifts that helped us to cover and make sure the clients were taken care of. And that results in a bonus where, in a call center job, somebody can make $45,000 a year.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
um, and get noticed too. Like, we notice who is on that bonus roll every
Mhm.
single month. And at that point, once you're making 30,000, 40,000, $50,000, your base cost, the cost of a gallon of milk doesn't change.
Right.
So you start having extra money every month. You start participating, doing the smart things like, participating in our 401k match program, right? And just maxing it out, putting 5%, 7%, whatever the max is, I don't know, into that 401k. Talk to HR, get there and do it. But you also get to the point where you can start paying things down and cutting credit cards, but not really. Okay, this was a picture that was another Dave Ramsey talking point. He wants all your debt gone, your credit cards gone, and all that stuff. No, 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 no. You want the credit cards that have been with you for a long time, that have little to no annual fee, but have these high interest rates because they were starter credit cards.
Mm.
Keep those. You can cut them up because you don't actually want to pull them out and use them anywhere. Use them for an online purchase every once in a while so they think you're alive.
Right.
But that's about it. You want to keep those. The amount of time that an account is open makes a big difference in what your credit score is.
Mm.
So I have crappy credit cards from 10 years ago.
Mhm.
It's still open. And they weren't that crappy 10 years ago. And I don't need the ones from 20 years ago. Eventually you can, you can cut them all, the really old ones up. But that's when you improve that. And you know what the difference is in interest rate right now? And we're having this conversation in 2020. If I go to get a car with a 770 plus, sometimes over 800 credit score, and versus someone next to me that has a 600 score, the
Mhm.
interest rate difference goes from me at about 3% to them at 10 to 14 and potentially higher percent. That's huge.
Yeah.
So always mind your credit and make sure that that's going in the right direction. But once you get to that point where you've committed, you've delivered, you've gotten increased pay and recognition as a result, the next thing for you to do is start paying down some debt, start establishing that financial independence. Now, the next thing you do is, if you're really smart, if you really want to take your career to that next level, is you expand your knowledge base. And so, you know, in a prior step, I said you got to know what your business is about, what your mission is, a little bit about the competition, a little bit about your partners. If I worked at Taco Bell, for instance, I would be reading all the labels of everything that came in the back door and understanding where that came from, what the supply chain was, how Yum Brands was involved in it. Like, I couldn't stop myself. I'd be doing that. So if you work in and around real estate, or here particularly, you might go to our YouTube channels. We have a few of them, and we get a lot of views, amongst the highest in our industry on our videos. You should Google us. You should read uh, how we get featured on other sites. You should go to inspectionsuccess.net. You should see what some of our partners in the home inspection industry see on their way into that relationship. You should understand that, because you see largely the backside. And if I had to guess, I'd say you haven't spent a lot of time at inspectionsuccess.net clicking around. Am I wrong, Mike?
You're not wrong.
All right. Well, there you go. I mean, I posted on my profile. I posted in social media quite a bit. You should follow that and go, if this is something the CEO of the company is pushing out to, and ISG teams and everybody else is pushing out to potential partners. I should, if you stand up, the light will turn back on.
Oh,
Just walk around for a second.
there we go.
Yeah. Sorry, I put Mike in our rec room on a Saturday where the lights go into an energy saving mode. Don't tell anyone I'm so green about stuff. Okay, they'll think I'm some sort of liberal. Anyway, but you should be following that, and you should look at our warranty offers, like what you see on realwarranty.net. You should be going to our supplier and partner websites, and you should be going to our competitors' websites and reading books over and over again, incessantly, about this business, around this business. And somewhat uniquely, and I guess in our business compared to many, we have 4 going on 5 now, books that have come from us, that we've put out there. And there's other places you should be. You should be on Home Inspection University, watching those videos, and on our forum. And you should be doing that in that time where you do nothing, that relaxed time at the end of the evening. That's what I do. I get on news. I get on competitor websites. I pull all the press wires, and that's how I end my day every day. You should always read the labels. That will get your mind tuned to being hyper aware and expanding knowledge in anything you do. If you read every darn label and try to understand, like, okay, what are they really trying to say? What part of this is compliance? What part of it's marketing? And everything, every product. Next, awareness. Okay, so now you're learning. Next thing you need to do is be aware. Obviously, another funny photo about awareness. If you're the kind of person who walks out of a bathroom with toilet paper streaming behind you often, or the kind of person who's in an aisle and someone's trying to get by you and you're just unaware, and so are your kids, and you're teaching them to be unaware. Oh, this is why I don't mind COVID to some extent, because I don't have to go out and experience that level of frustration. Like, move. Anyway, you need to truly understand, and not just have that level of awareness of what you sound like to people, or how they might perceive something, or what your next step is, but you need to start understanding and having an awareness of how it all fits together. Being aware, taking action regularly, as a result of that awareness now, because you have greater knowledge. And is this your place? That's the question I would ask anybody who is unaware. Just last week, there was like a Swisher Sweet in the like one of those crappy cigar things from the gas station. There was one sitting about 2 feet off of our front steps to our main admin building. Okay. Now, I left it. I walked over that a few times, but I only did that so that I could watch the cameras later and see once it was gone and see who actually picked it up and got rid of it, right?
Right.
Because I ask people all the time, and you see if you go up the staircases in some of these buildings, and you see the scuffs on the wall, and whatever, and you go, really, really, this is your place, this is your second home.
Yeah.
You have to be aware and you have to care, and wherever you are, it should feel like home. It should be your place. It's your company, and you should have pride in it. Like Mike Gaines should have pride that he's a part of this and a real part of this and has a great future here and will be the success that he's always wanted to be. And you'd be that probably anywhere. We're glad to have you here. But care about it like it's your place. And I know you do. And that is a big part of why you were an early uh, supervisor level raise and mobility, right?
Right.
It was about that caring. It was about the way you treat clients, the way they feel after a conversation with you. Now we'll move on to the next thing, because I don't want to take too long here, because then people won't watch it. But do you think you're getting something out of this, Mike?
I am.
I don't want to waste your time on a Saturday.
No, you're not.
All right.
I like it.
All right. So the next thing to do is establish, and really you can establish this at any time, but it's most crucial at this stage in career development to have superior availability. And when I say this, I mean, your hours of work, your commitment to projects and putting in extra hours where needed, and being consistently available away from work. That makes you better for the company.
Mm-hmm.
If you turn off your phone and your social media messaging platforms and access to your email and everything else the minute you walk out that door right at 5 p.m., all right, and I respect you if you do that. It's not that I don't respect you, but you are making yourself worth less to your employer. You're making yourself worth less to your clients, to the people that engage with you. So our commitment to availability, I would say, stems very much from my mother, particularly. I put her logo up here in this presentation. She's my mother and father started a home inspection company when I was 3 years old called Security Home Inspections. And it was this simple, 3 rings and that phone is answered. And on the weekends, forward the phones, right? I mean, to this day, if one of her clients needs anything, she's going to take that call on a Sunday. She's still going to do it. And I'm the same way. If that's not you, I get it. But if it is you, you will be more paid better, and you will be worth more.
Right.
All right, so let's go to the next stage. Now, this is if you really love where you work, and you could love where you work because you're an entrepreneur and you own it. You can love where you work because it's a great company with a giant campus like we have here, with a workout facility and an outdoor pavilion with the grill. And I can't wait for this next summer. We're gonna have some good stuff. I want to really cook up something good on the grill. What's your favorite grill item, Mike?
Good burgers. Good burgers.
Yeah, that's right. I want a good burger. I don't want a burger that was ever frozen meat.
No, not at all.
I get it. I mean, just by volume and how often we do those sorts of things, there's a place for frozen meat. Okay.
Right.
But once in a while, we need to have a bit of a pitch in. Here's what I envision. You got the ground beef. We got one dude. That's regulated. That's being handled by a dude with gloves on. Okay.
Right.
And they're packing those things, and they're packing them just thick enough to be, nice and greasy and never dry out. And if I see anybody with the spatula press on it and flatten it on the grill, I'll smack them.
Screaming.
Oh man. personally. You're off grill duty, dude. Um, and none of that grilling, like where you put the cheese on the burger while grilling. Okay, that no,
Oh,
that's
no.
not a thing. It's not how you're supposed to do it. But anyway, we're gonna have that going, and then like some really intense toppings, like some sautéed mushrooms and onions. You know,
Mhm.
some good like provolone cheese to throw
Yeah.
on top of that, and some guacamole and some marinara sauce.
Oh,
Now I'm hungry, and it's
yeah.
almost
You got
lunchtime, killing me. Anyway, but those experiences that we have, the way that we interact with each other, and we do this at all of our locations. I mean, if you were down at Priority Lab in the last year, you would have been provided lunch and a little party with me there. I do the same thing down there that I do up here because we have to have that experience. You have to have that connection with everybody, and hopefully, and if you work here, you don't have to get all 30 of these things perfect. Nobody gets all 30 of them perfect. But
right.
if you think that we do a great job of making people happy and that we have a good environment, and a safe environment, and a place where it's a little edgy, but it's nice.
Yeah.
You can see some of the hilarity right behind you there. There's a picture of me with a Mark Summers who's from Indianapolis, by the way, and Reggie Brown, who is an Obama impersonator. But you go by that in the hallway, and it's like, wow, Obama was here.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it can be that kind of fun environment, and you should want to tell your friends about it, and you should
Right.
be an ambassador for the company everywhere you are. When I shouldn't have to tell somebody, wow, I can't believe I'm getting people on social media messaging me about the inappropriate crap you said over in a group or whatever, which I've had to say to many people. It's just, that's the way it is. You got to
Right.
be a little bit PC, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Right.
Because you don't want to make people feel horrible. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, unless they deserve it, then you want to make them feel super horrible. Uh, but that's for me to decide,
Right.
not for
Right.
you to decide. So be a good ambassador and be always looking for more people. In include staff members and clients in that. You know, uh, Mike, name a friend from just first name only that lives in another city in America that you grew up with.
Don.
Don. What city in America does Don live in?
Brownsville.
What is it?
Brownsville.
Where is Brownsville? I'm sorry.
New York.
Okay. All right. Thank you. There's a couple of them. So in Brownsville, New York, we're talking. That's like mid-state, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. So what does Don do?
Don works for alcoholic beverage company.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, little libation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places to work in that distribution, the wine and liquor stores. You can be in promotions, events, marketing, etc. Almost every type of company there is. You
Right.
can do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at of certain scale companies, right?
Right.
And even smaller ones, you can invent your path. You can be an innovator for your boss, and that's okay.
Right.
Um, we have people on microscopes here today. We have people on this Saturday
Mm.
manufacturing, assembling high-tech equipment.
Right.
All of these things. So whatever Don does at the beverage company, if he's ever looking for something different, if they ever don't give him the opportunity to take his career where it needs to go, you make sure Don knows that we have partners there locally
Right.
that are always looking for great people, right?
Right.
It's not just residential warranty services here. It's 8,500 home inspectors, and really, out of those 8,500, we'll call it 700 that are amazing employers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then we have all of our locations everywhere else. We have partners in other spaces too. I'll give you a name of a partner that you don't deal with in your department at all, and then you can try to guess how we partner with them. Have you ever heard of ServPro?
No, I don't believe so.
All right,
Sir.
ServPro is a disaster restoration company. They have these green trucks,
Hmm.
and they had a slogan uh, that I believe they still use, and it was like it never even happened. So
Mm.
when you have an insurance issue, and I say insurance issue, you have a flood, you have a fire, whatever it might be. You call your insurance company and go, oh my gosh, a tree came through my roof, and now it's my roof is flooding, or my basement's flooding, and house is on fire. There's a riot and civil commotion outside, and my dog bit the neighbor's kid, or whatever, whatever that is. Those are all insurance claims. You call your insurance company, and if there's a restoration need, they'll say, all right, you need to get a restoration company out. SurfPro is one of those companies. So they come
Okay.
out and they clean up your mess, whatever it might be. And our laboratory, Priority Lab, is the partner there for environmental testing and laboratory services. So
Mm.
whether it's, does this person have a mold problem, or we went ahead and fixed it, did it work? So verification. Or you could have an older floor that was installed during a time that asbestos flooring was a thing, and they
Mm.
can take a sample from it, send it to our lab, and we can make sure that their workers, their staff members, are safe when they remove it. So that's what we do for SurfPro. And
Okay.
SurfPro has 6,000 franchisees. we have a great network of people that can hire any of your friends. Okay. So be a good ambassador, and hopefully recruit for me, but be proud of where you work.
Right.
Next thing, enough on that. Advanced awareness. Now, this is no longer about being aware of what's in front of you, but rather seeking out what you should. Advanced awareness isn't just, hey, here it is, it's obvious, it's on the website, it's a link here, it's a video here, it's a post here, it's on the signs that you see. And how many signs would you say I have posted in these headquarters buildings, Mike?
Plastered all over the walls.
Just a guess. Give a guess of a number of signs with messaging and what about what we do.
Hundred, hundreds. I'm
It's
just,
actually it's around 350 total,
wow.
and yeah, and so but
I was
that's
just
so
thinking mine.
that's right to you. It hits your eyeballs
Right.
every day. How many times? 20, 30 times you see a message.
Right.
But you should be going out and finding more. You should be seeking out knowledge, and this is just about looking into prevention of an issue at this point, because that there's issues in every business.
Yeah.
So if you become better about seeking knowledge on issues that you can prevent, improve, innovate on, and this isn't about, at this point in your career, predicting it or planning it or anticipating it. It's just about being more aware, having a higher level of awareness so that you can be a part of the solution.
Hmm.
Don't jump steps. Don't become the innovator, ideator, all of that stuff, because you'll probably do more harm than good and frustrate people. You just need to be on an advanced level aware. Um, and let me give you an example from a totally different business, because I'm hoping that some people that are somewhere else don't even work for me, don't work for any of our partners, don't even work in real estate, see this and go, okay, I get this, this makes sense. It's not that at my company there's some nepotism or magic pill, or you got to be a member of this club. No, it's about what you accomplish and how much you deliver for the business and how much you're worth.
Right.
Okay. And it's not about any of these fluffy things you'll hear motivational speakers talk about. But I'll give you a great example, just totally out out of bounds, outside of our industry, outside of what our clients do. uh, Chase Bank, JP Morgan Chase Bank, they offer credit cards. They offer a bunch of credit cards. They offer credit cards at every level. They want to be the bank for you.
Mhm.
Um, and they do a really good job with their credit cards. I got credit cards from them that have consistent cash back stuff, some that has more cash back on certain type of purchases. They have done a great job of you know filling my wallet with Chase logos.
Right.
Okay, my wallet slash phone holder. It's nothing but Chase logos in here.
Right.
So one day though, I start spending a little bit more on a card from Citibank, which doesn't matter to the story. But the point is that I was making purchases on a personal credit card fairly regularly all of a sudden, and I was paying down that card. Like I never left it. You shouldn't really have a lot of credit card debt. I kept it at virtually zero. But if I had ran one of these high end charges
Hmm.
the day before the statement date, it would crush my credit score because you'd be over 20% of utilized credit. And if you're over 10% or 13% or whatever, that really hurts your credit score. So I went to Chase, that I had always been loyal to, and I said, I have this card, I have this card, I have this card. I need these cards to have a higher limit so that when I accidentally hit a higher amount of debt at the end of the month because I didn't have time to pay it off right before the statement date, that it doesn't crush my credit score. Or and I say crush, took it down 40 points, and then it bounced up the next month. And the guy said, and my banker says, well, no problem. Let me just press a button here. We'll take that one. And he goes and he applies it. Immediately comes back with here's your higher credit limit. Cool. Done. Done. Then I get a notice in the mail 2 weeks later that one of the other credit cards that I have with Chase, the total credit limit on that card was reduced by the same amount that I had increased on that card. So it didn't solve my problem at all. So what did I do? I called that guy. I said, dude, we didn't accomplish anything. And now this credit card has a lower limit. Like, what the hell?
Right.
And this guy, who is, well paid, he's a private client banker.
Right.
He said, let me look into that. And he said, I'll get back to you. And he just stopped it right there. He committed to getting back to me. And he looked into it and figured out why this was happening, because he knew he had this advanced awareness that somebody else was going to have a similar problem at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to come in, they were going to look for a solution from him. And by the way, for those of you at home that see me looking over here, I got Mike Gaines over here. I got a PowerPoint over here. It's, camera 1, camera 2 stuff. But he looked into it and figured out why it was happening. So, and how to prevent it the next time he got asked. That's advanced awareness. JP Morgan Chase Bank Private Client Group in Carmel, Indiana, will have some level of business from me forever, because you have people like that guy.
Right.
Okay. So, extrapolate that in your business, in our business. In fact, here, I'll give you a chance to come up with your own, Mike. How can you create advanced awareness for you?
More so, creating advanced awareness for me is just also looking at the problems and the issues that come to me. Every now and then I still get those new ones. For me, creating that advanced awareness when you get that new type of issue or problem is more so, it's like with us, it's in the realm of a HVAC unit or something like that, is me having that knowledge of the system, getting that knowledge of the system. Okay, if this happens, this happens. Then also looking at different estimates from different contractors and their opinions on it. And it's just doing that research to get that going, to be able to move forward for the next time we have that issue arising.
And that's a great answer. Let me give you one word of warning here on advanced awareness. You can be over aware. You can have too much input. You can have too much interaction with too many things.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly when you're dealing with the complex business of dealing with risk management, warranty claims, mechanical systems, and a high frequency claim situation. All right. I mean, like, we have a very complex business, and I love it for that reason. I don't want to be somewhere where I'd get bored. But if you're getting something that is a massive exception, then you push it to somebody to deal with the massive exceptions, and just keep adding to your base of awareness. But that doesn't mean you have to be aware of everything. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's go to the next logical step. This is problem solving. So, way too many people, long before this is the 14th step here. Long before this step, sometime before people have uh, completed the 5th step or the 7th step, or certainly the 13th step,
Mhm.
they try to become problem solvers. And this is what I alluded to just a minute ago. They can make things worse
Mhm.
because they jump in and go, oh, no, I know how to fix everything.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Glad you think that. You don't. You have to have all of this knowledge. You have to have all of this awareness. And then once you get here, then you can start problem solving, and you problem solve with a team. You don't go alone on this stuff. You go to your next up manager, other team leaders, other supervisors, and you say, hey, here's this problem. Here's what I've noticed. Have you guys noticed the same? And I think if we just made this adjustment and this adjustment, that we could improve on that a little bit. And we're going to take that improvement as a proposal. We're going to take that to our manager and see what happens. That's how you do it. And that way you don't create a solution for something that creates a problem somewhere else. And not only that, but everyone in the process, everyone around you working with you starts to appreciate your approach to things, right?
Mhm.
All right, next. Teaching. So you can be a teacher without and lead by example with your peers without being their boss necessarily. And I'm not just talking about entry level jobs. I'm talking about supervisory jobs. I'm talking about managers. I'm talking about leadership.
Mhm.
So this is something that I think we don't do enough of here, if I had to guess, because I keep a nice little eye on people. How many times a month do you and a couple of other warranty supervisors, leaders, management go and grab lunch? You got to eat anyway.
Right.
How often does that happen?
Not that often.
Right. Okay. So see my point.
Yeah.
Eh, um, that should be happening.
Yeah.
But even if it's not in that context,
Right.
it should be happening. It should be that you sit, you meet, you share a meal, you look somebody eye to eye,
Mhm.
and you say, "Here's what I'm noticing. What's on your mind?" That sort of thing. And in that conversation, you can do a lot more teaching than the "I'm your boss and here's how this is going to go" kind of stuff, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's true. Well, let's go to the next thing. At some point, you're going to be put in charge of people, and you are at this point. So, you know, do you feel like you've completed all of the prior 16 uh, levels there, Mike?
No.
No.
I'm still working on some of those other levels too.
You got to go back and you got to clean up some of those, and that'll make you worth more to me. Okay. And worth more to your teams. But you have been put in a leadership position, and here in this picture we have Lisa Miller. She's our director of training for all of our staff here at headquarters at Residential Warranty Services.
Right.
Um, to be put in charge of people and be a manager, a leader, a supervisor, that's going to happen if you deliver. If you commit, you deliver, you're available, you don't turn your phone off at night, if you're aware of things, if you learn things, if you seek to solve problems, if you communicate well with your peers, and all of these things, you're going to get offered a leadership position. You may not even want it. You may not be built for it, but you still have to do it.
Right.
You can't stumble,
Right.
even if it's difficult. Even if you do not, even if you don't do it well, it's okay. Show that you meant to try really hard at it. Show that you meant to deliver for these people that you're leading. That will be respected. I'm going to move on to the next thing. So now that you're a leader, Now that you are a manager, a supervisor, you make more than other people here in this building, Mike Gaines. All
Right.
right. You need to buy that house. You need to
Right.
stop being a scaredy cat on that. And you're going to buy that house. That's first, like,
Yeah.
always house first.
Yeah.
But then, when you get a couple more raises or wherever you're at that you're real comfy,
Mm.
and all your bills are covered at home, your kids are taken care of, go buy a BMW. Okay. I want you to show up to work in a BMW, in a Mercedes, in whatever. I want you to be that. Why? Because there are two obligations in a capitalist society on uh, someone who is successful, and you are well on your way there. To many people, you're very successful. There are people that only dream of being where you're at, and you're going to be somewhere else, and you have this level of success. What's your obligation then? It's one, to be an example for others, so that they know that they want to be there. You got to be happy. You got to be smiling.
Right.
And two is to show it. You you made this money, you made this trade currency. Well, that means that you were worth that trade currency, and now you get to spend it.
Right.
That is your obligation as a capitalist American. And there are people that will disagree with that. There are people that are super conservative. There are shades of gray here, folks. But you got to do it. And you can't just hoard cash forever. Make
True.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't
Yeah.
be stupid about it. Don't be silly about it. But what's your favorite car?
You just mentioned it. This a Beamer. A Beamer. I got to get one.
And do you have a particular BMW that you love?
No, I seen one. The one I seen was one of two, and then I said I got to find one and get it souped up.
Okay.
It just had the whole nine. It had the TVs, which were really like iPads in the back of the headrest, and you could pull them out. And
Are we talking about a sedan or an SUV?
it was a sedan.
Okay, so you're talking about probably, I'm just going to guess a BMW 7 Series.
I think so.
All right. The 7 Series is that, the equivalent to a Mercedes S-Class.
Okay.
All right. Big.
Right.
You sit down in the Mac, you got plenty of leg room.
Yep.
And yeah, you can't, the brand new ones, the Jaguar Vandenpla version of everything BMW, they come with these TVs, but you can go and you can get the base model. There's no reason to spend 200 thousand on a new 7 Series.
Right.
You can buy a recent model used one. That's my model. I don't spend stupid amounts of money.
Right.
And then get those aftermarket TVs. You can make them look just like it, and you can use iPads. iPads are the best solution for it because they
Right.
update constantly. They got everything your kids want.
Yep.
Anyway, no, that's you. What color? What color on the 7 Series?
Black on black.
Black. That's right. I had a guy say when I showed up in my first Cadillac and I had made it all black, all blacked out except for it was white. It was a white exterior color, but everything else was dark tint, black, everything.
Right.
And somebody said that's a nice white Cadillac, all murdered out. I'd never heard the phrase before or ever after, but wherever I was, somebody said I was murdered out. So
In a nutshell. Yeah. That's what it is.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right. Well, good. Well, let's murder out all our vehicles, man.
Right.
All right. So you have that financial success. You show it. You don't be stupid about it. You take care of your family first. But this is a capitalist society, and those people that work at this point, I say beneath you, with us. I work with everybody here. But those
Right.
people that are seeking to have the success that you do, they need to know that it's worth it. Okay,
Right.
and not just here, out there. Every once in a while, I'll be driving, and I have a couple of decent, vehicles.
Yeah.
And some of them look really like way more crazy than they actually are in reality. And I'll be driving and I'll see a kid, you know, in the 10-year-old to 15-year-old range. And the car will catch his eye and I'll see him follow me, you know, with his head.
Yeah.
And I go, good. It was worth it to drive this car today.
Yeah.
That
I got,
kid's going to be a killer. He's going
yeah.
to want it. He's going to go get it. He's going to do
Yeah.
what he needs to do. This is next step. You got to be good at communication, and you got to take words and make them matter. We're not talking about using keywords and key phrases. If you, I'm going to send you a link, Mike, to one of my recent podcasts. If you haven't already watched it, where I go just ape shit on these great guys, these hosts that invited me to be interviewed on a podcast, and I like them both, and they took it really well. But I just went totally ape shit on them over uh, the use of the word, you know, value and, you know, deeper dive. Anyway, that's all nonsense words. Those are words you use when you don't have anything else to say.
Yeah.
Words matter. Be deliberate. Know what you're talking about, and have incredible levels of knowledge behind the words that you're saying. By the time you communicate to your team, that by the time you are presenting to clients, to prospective clients, you need to be able to do that like an expert
Right.
and not like someone who, you know, watched a video on anything else and repeated. So as soon as you have the ability to communicate, like I do about our products, um, that takes you to a whole new level. You level up.
Right.
Every one of these is a level up, you
Yeah.
know, and every one of these steps is it's not a one and done thing. You know, you're building on it, and you constantly have to improve on all of them. And so this one, number 19, is improvements. Like, you know, by now if you followed everything up to this point to some extent, you know, whether you're 30% through it or, you know, ninja level, does not matter. You know, you're going to be able to implement improvements with authority and with knowledge. If I could say to you tomorrow, hey, find me the three most frequent issues that we run into in this category, and don't even tell me what your findings are, just find them, fix them, and deploy it, and like, don't even waste my time talking about it.
Hmm.
If I had that level of trust with you because of where you were at on all these other things, would you be making more right now?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, it takes authority, it takes knowledge. You have to earn the authority and the knowledge. And at that point, then you are what has recently been coined as an implementer, right? Whatever. Make up whatever damn word you want to for it. It's someone with the authority and knowledge to make improvements. And by the way, yeah, you have to stand up for that light. It won't, you can't wave at it.
Okay.
Um, one of the improvements, great improvements of our modern time was charcoal briquettes. All right, these you know, when you think of charcoal, name a brand of charcoal. Go for it.
What's that? Kingsford.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right,
Kingsford.
Kingston. I think it's Kingston, right? Is it
Something like
Kingston or
that.
Kingsford?
I
Yeah.
can see the logo.
All
It's
right, you
like,
can see the logo. All right, classic. Now, do you know where that came from?
mm-mm.
All right, so they have these little pillow-like briquettes that you throw in a regular grill, and you can make your food taste way better by burning charcoal into them. What's charcoal made of? You know,
uh, no. Is it
largely wood.
really?
Yep. And the original wood that these charcoal briquettes were made of was the excess wood, the things that were cut and unusable in the early days of Ford.
Mm.
They had, I mean, gosh, I don't ask me the year, but at one point Henry Ford was looking at 1 million orders for cars that had wood decks, lots of wood parts at the time. He had to source his own wood. And
Hmm.
I think it was his brother-in-law or second cousin or something. I look it up on Wikipedia. But this Kingston or Kingsford guy, he was like the brother-in-law that sourced the wood, and then had the big problem of, okay, what do we do with all the garbage?
Hmm.
Well, we're going to turn it into charcoal briquettes and we're going to sell it.
Yeah.
That is an improvement. That's
Yeah.
somebody who can get something done, especially
Yeah.
when it becomes a brand that goes on for another 100 years. Holy moly. All right, next. Now you have all that. At some point, you're going to get really inspired to be cross-trained. You know, if you work at a company that manufactures high-end equipment, you might want to go spend a day there once. If you work at a company that has a lab, you might want to spend the day there once. And, you know, all of our partners, by the way, have access to us in every way. If they wanted to have a staff member experience a day in the life of our marketing team, for instance, that can be arranged.
Right.
I put this up here, this cross training. You want to be cross trained. You want to know a little bit about how to handle just about everything there, because the more you know about other people's jobs, the more you can put all these pieces together, the more you can deliver solutions well, the more valuable you are in training, right?
Right.
You know, and identifying staff members that might be better placed somewhere else.
Yes.
How many staff members are you in charge of in a day, Mike Gaines?
I got about 15.
Okay, you got 15 staff members. Imagine if you had uh, uh, a a real idea of what each of their strengths were, and you knew about all the different jobs that we had here, and you had one that just was not fitting
Right.
where you needed them.
Right.
Well, no problem. We can replace them. We have an HR department and you know a recruiting effort all the time.
Mhm.
Maybe they need to go to that other thing, but you don't necessarily know about that other thing or not to the level that you should. And just have them go and spend a day and you know see if they enjoy it. If they don't, worst case scenario is they got a little bit of cross training and they come back and they're inspired again. You know, it could work out. I put this fryer up there with a McDonald's logo. By the way, that picture is totally doctored. We put the McDonald's logo on this
Right.
in case anyone from McDonald's is watching this and going, that's not our fryer. Um, I don't know if it is a McDonald's fryer or not, but it did not have a McDonald's logo. If you're going to be a McDonald's franchisee, you have to go to Hamburger University or whatever they call it, and you have to work in an active McDonald's in every single capacity. You
Mhm.
have to clean, you have to do the fryer, you have to make the burgers, you have to take the drive-through orders, all of it, everything. Um, and look at how successful McDonald's is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I love their food. If I eat like one hamburger from that place, I gain 5 pounds immediately.
All right.
I can't do it. Is it good food? I think so. It's not for me, but
Right.
their systems are amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so be cross trained, start learning about all these other things and going and experiencing it. Then that's when you can really understand the mission of where you're at, and you can take that mission and you can adopt it, and hopefully you already agree with it. Hopefully you already love the mission. What's our mission here, Mike? By the way,
You got me.
woo!
I mean,
I think you know it. I think you just don't know the words.
I don't
Um,
know the
because
word.
we don't like doing fluffy things like putting out mission statements.
Right.
Okay. But our true mission statement here at Residential Warranty Services is to eliminate liability for all parties to the real estate transaction. That's our mission. In everything we do, it's about doing that. If they move in and their sewer line breaks, what do we want to happen? We want it to be covered.
Yep.
Right. If they move in and their roof leaks, what do we want?
We wanted to be covered.
We want it to be covered. Because the way that real estate operates in a vacuum of us, and we're involved in around 20% of all real estate transactions in the US and Canada now. Thank God. Because before we were involved, this is the way that it would go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm buying a house. Great. I'm going to go talk to my real estate agent. I'm going to look at the house. Everything seems all right. I'm going to ask the seller for a copy of their seller's disclosure. Seller said, "Oh yeah, everything's good," or "I don't know." And then I'm going to go get a home inspection from, whoever, and they're going to come out and they're going to tell me, in on a very limited basis, what they can see
Hmm.
that day in all of 3 hours inside of my new house. And then I'm going to take the list of every defect that they noted. I'm going to ask the seller to fix it, and then I'm going to move in. And when I move in, if the first day I'm there, the sewer line backs up because it was cracked, it had tree roots in it, all of that stuff. If that happens on day one, the seller, not responsible. Your real estate agent, not responsible. Your home inspection company, not responsible. Your home warranty company, not responsible. You are totally screwed.
Yeah.
And you just spent, and I told you earlier, I'm going to hold you accountable to buying a damn house. You need to be shopping for one now. Damn it. You've earned it. You've earned it. And it's easy to do. I'll show you the way. I wish I could had the time to do it for everybody, but when you go through that process, I'll warn you ahead of time, you're going to spend some money. You're going to spend some money on the home inspection. There's going to be some small down payment.
Right.
But that small down payment, man, that can take the cash out of the account and
Yeah.
run it down. And then you move in and your house fills with poo, and whoa, you don't have any money to deal with it. And everybody's okay with that. Oh no, it's the standard of inspection. Oh, the seller didn't know. That's the standard for seller's disclosure. Oh, the agent, they don't have any obligation to make sure that you're taken care of. It's bull crap.
Right.
And thousands of homeowners on just this one issue alone are
Mhm.
adversely affected by this issue every single year. And I'm very, very proud of our mission statement. It's not just sewer lines. We do it with everything, with mold, with mechanical and structural concerns of all sorts of natures. Uh, but that's what we do. And so I kind of think of myself in terms of this mission that I grew up in that mission. Grandfather, a real estate agent, parents, home inspectors, and then working in the warranty business in the first few years. Seeing firsthand what a homeowner goes through in their first year.
Right.
And then I just took that mission and added to it and said, you know what? This is what our real mission is.
Yep.
And so if you looked up this guy, you know who this guy is in the picture, by the way?
No, I do not.
St. Ignatius de Loyola. And he would be the founder of the Society of Jesus, also known as the Jesuits, which is the school I went to that I mentioned earlier. It's a Jesuit school. And you should look them up. Look up St. Ignatius de Loyola and know that, he's a saint, obviously. So somebody decided that his life's work was,
Right.
memorable and should be applauded in the Catholic Church. But he created this sort of, other mission that went a little bit further than where the Catholic mission did. So, it's not that you have to take up exactly your boss's mission. You might have a little bit different mission. You may want to provide really well for those 15 people. You may want to solve for something that you notice in your career here. You can be St. Ignatius de Loyola, is what I'm saying. Now, when you figure it out that the money is good at this point, but you've come so far in how you manage and lead that you do it with efficiency, with grace, with humility. Um, you've sacrificed your position that you've earned to some extent, right? So you build a position, you move on to the next one, you build a position, you move on to the next one. At some point, after you kill yourself, and you should, do what 99% of people are not willing to do so
Right.
that you can be in the 1%. I see that said in a very cliche way all over the place without the rest of this stuff that we've talked about today. It doesn't make sense. Out of context, it's just a thing. Oh yeah, I work hard. No, bullshit.
Right.
You have to make sure that everything in your life is a priority, including your career. And you should be killing yourself for some period of time But at some point, you get to where you have this personal level of success. And now you can start taking those things that you've built and you know how to give them to the next guy so that he can start building on those things. And now you're still in it. You're building bigger. You're finding all these other things to do. And I put up a couple of logos here. I'll just talk about one of them for a second. So we have a home inspection partner down in South Florida that is at the pinnacle of the industry. The top 0.2% of all home inspection companies. He works his butt off and he does it really well. And he and his wife started another company at their facility where they make customized anything. Like they can burn with their laser engraver your name on the side of a gun. I mean, like crazy custom level cool stuff.
Right.
And that's called Impressed. It's down in Sarasota, Bradenton area. That is like the epitome of, okay, I've had personal success. I've bought the house I want. I've gotten the kids out the door. They're doing fine. And now I'm going to show off a little, just a little. I'm going to do something for me here, but I'm also going to take my career to the next level. And you can do that within a company too. Next thing, and I'm going to keep it moving because I don't want people to, YouTube to go, man, this is over 2 hours. So the next thing is integration of message. This is when you become a marketing asset. You become a writer. You become a blogger. You become a video expert. You become an authority figure. And a subject matter expert, regardless of title. Okay, you may have at this point decided that leadership in certain ways wasn't for you, or you and your boss might have. You might have decided to switch departments or switch career paths altogether, but you're a subject matter expert and you learn how to integrate that message and get it out into whatever sphere you need to have the maximum impact for the company. And judging that, even knowing that is a big thing. Now, leading level 2, this is a totally different kind of leadership. It's where, you're not necessarily managing people like you are today. You could be, but you're in a room with the management team and you're coordinating efforts together. That's leading level 2. It's boardroom, and you can't do it all through Zoom, by the way. The world will figure that out. Then there's knowledge mastery, and I'll let you go and learn all about Michelangelo's David, and not just the mastery itself in the skill of how he can perform his art, but also how to present it well. And there's some good stories on that. You can Wikipedia it, but this is where you really know, things like, here, I'll give you an example. What's another phrase for heat exchanger?
Another phrase for a heat exchanger?
That's right. In a high efficiency furnace, what is a more specific way to represent in words a heat exchanger? Oh man, right? Okay, no, it's okay. Like you can perform your duties just fine without knowing this fact.
No,
right?
I know, I know that.
I know, yeah, you know that. But there is a primary heat exchanger and a secondary heat exchanger.
Right.
You just said right. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. I didn't know it was. I didn't know the difference was the secondary and the primary. I mean,
Well,
I thought you were using like another term instead of heat exchanger.
Well, okay. Let me take it just a little bit further. Describe a secondary heat exchanger for me.
Now that I cannot do.
Okay. All right. So the primary heat exchanger is very similar to any heat exchanger in a efficient or very inefficient furnace. It's where you have a metal that can take a flame on one side and heat the air on the other side. Okay, simple enough. A secondary heat exchanger is when you take the exhaust gases from that process, and that then goes, would just go into a flue and go out the roof in a standard furnace. In a high efficiency furnace, it will go through, a coiled essentially
Mhm.
flue, and air will go across that as well. So you get some of the extra heat from the exhaust. That's a
Mhm.
secondary heat exchanger.
Mm.
That's the idea, right? Um, and once you have knowledge mastery of this stuff, you might also find, if you go and read some of those competitors' policies, you might find that some of our competitors exclude secondary heat exchangers. Whoa. How many real estate agents in the world do you think know what a secondary heat exchanger is?
Not,
Not very many,
un
until they hear that their client was denied a claim once again.
right.
All right, on to the next thing. My favorite dude. I love this dude. His name's Darth Vader. I'm sure, Disney or somebody isn't going to like that he's there, but you'll notice I don't have any of our logos, nobody's logo on this. This is for purposes of helping the world, and whoever sees this part and says, "Oh, you know, we're going to go contact Nathan Thornberry with our lawyers," just know I have bought so much Darth Vader stuff. Like, I've paid you. Okay, number one. Number two, this is for helping the world. Okay, uh, implementation in a self-guided way where you can be the boss wherever you are, even when your bosses are somewhere else. That is a very high level, and that's what Darth Vader is. Is he the boss? Was he in charge of everything, Mike?
No, he was not.
No, that's right. He wasn't in charge at all. But
Mm.
when he walked in a room, he was in charge.
Yeah.
And he was sort of in charge in the sense that, you know, if he took something down a path, he's so good at implementing. He has so much knowledge and all of this stuff that that the true bosses, the the investors in the company, or whatever we want to call this, make the analogy to in this in the empire.
Right.
Um, they trust his judgment and
Mhm.
trust him to implement. Do they trust him to come up with the overall strategy? Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe they want to make sure that their interests are what he's going after, but they know that he can get it done. So, you know, everywhere you go, at some point, if you go through all these steps, you know, the Darth Vader music should be playing in your head.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, by the way, who's my boss?
I do not know.
Every single one of our clients. And
Mm.
that's why my parking spot says Darth Vader,
Yeah.
because my our clients don't have to tell me, specifically what to do,
Right.
but I'm going to get it done. Next, ideation. We're on a whole new level now, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee is in the background here. Do you know who came up with the Jeep Grand Cherokee?
Mm-mm.
Concept was from a guy that is kind of like a producer level in the automotive industry. He makes the ideas come to life, and makes automotive manufacturers more successful because of it. And his name uh, was, I don't know, I haven't checked on him in a while. Lee Iacocca.
Mm.
And there was an autobiography, I think, just called Iacocca at some point. You should look him up. But anyway, this is where, on this level, you're to the point and you should be coming up with ideas and saying, "This is an idea, I'm going to run with it." And that's what Lee Iacocca did. And he did it for multiple automotive manufacturers. Look him up. Then you get to leading level 3. Oh man, I put up this picture of this yacht, not one of these, stupid looking race yachts now that just are like, they're just like a piece of plastic that runs along like a hydrofoil along the top of the water. It's not even sailing anymore. This is the good days of sailing. Um, do you see any leadership here, Mike? Any teamwork, leadership, etc.? What do you see in this picture?
See, all teamwork.
All teamwork. You know what I see?
What you say?
I see a team that doesn't need the owner of the boat to be there.
Mm.
I see a team that is managed by somebody who is not there. And this is leading level 3, where you can put together an amazing team. There's somebody there that's the captain of the ship. There's somebody there that is in charge of this part and that part. There are ranks there. There is a leadership structure on that boat. But somebody is awesome and knows how to put together a team for that leadership structure. This is
Mhm.
totally next level stuff. We're talking many years from now. There's nothing you can do to put yourself in that position in the next 5 to 10 years. It'll be 15.
Mm.
And that's if you do everything perfect. But man, if you can come up with ideas and then put a team on it that can self manage, well, how much are you worth then, Mike?
Too much. You take it to a whole nother level right there.
Too much. You'll be worth too much money. You'll be begging to make less. And
Right.
and a lot of people do beg to make less, by the way. They retire sometime before one of these steps, or they just never push to that level, or they just go, no, I can't take it, or they have their first heart attack by 40,
Mhm.
whatever. Because it's not all easy. It's not simple. It's complex, and you got to know this stuff, and you have to be a sponge, and you have to be all over it all the time. You got to be on 24/7.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your kids or your family or have some sort of work-life balance in some way.
Right.
But it means that you are going to be intense on another level. And
Yeah.
some people don't want to be there. And I respect that. I just act that they respect me when when they don't have what I have, when they
Right.
don't have what you have,
Right.
because they didn't earn it. They didn't kill
Right.
themselves doing it. Um, and it's almost unfair. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world because I truly enjoy what I do,
Right.
and I hope everybody in this company, everybody that works with our partners, I hope. Well, not everybody in the world. There has to be winners and losers. Okay, don't believe this myth like the rising tide raises all boats or what. No, no, no. It does and it doesn't. Okay, there's a quality of life thing, and we're pretty good as humans at increasing quality of life over time.
Right.
Um, you know, look at modern conveniences, and if anybody living today were to actually go back 300 years, they would be miserable,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, and probably dead very quickly.
That's how it went back then.
Yeah. um, so we're all here for each other as humans, but without competition, you can't actually do better for other humans.
Hmm.
Now, this is really advanced stuff. All right. This is where, and we have people in our company that have been here for a long time that have done a very good job and have built a lot of careers for people that have come up with things that are innovations. I'm really proud that of all of them. Some of them are going to, and some of them have already done this, by the way, and you probably don't even know a few of them. But some of them will do a great job of this. Um, you know, your responsibilities are expanding. You're at or near retirement age, and now you start looking at your legacy. And what does your legacy look like? It should look like, if you want it to be great, it should look like everything that you did was set up and ready to go, and everything that was your responsibility at the end got handed off to somebody that you brought up to in every way you possibly could to your level, and then you handed them, pass the torch. There can be nothing better that you could do for another human or many humans in that process, but it's also about feeling good about where you left something, right?
Right.
So, um, all along the way, and I made this number 30 for a reason. Um, all along the way, you should be planning a bit for your future. I talked about, as soon as you got to, some financial abilities. As soon as you were a supervisor, as soon as you had the ability to save some money and spend a little bit and create that financial challenge, I said you also need to be in that 401k. You need to start putting money away, start making good decisions. And if you did that way back then, it gets a lot easier for when you realize when you're 40 or 50 or even later, and that's when most people have a real sit down with a financial advisor, that you're better off than you thought. You can start having that conversation as someone that has assets to move around. um, and you should also probably have this conversation or start looking into financial future planning a little bit earlier. I would say it's a waste in your 20s, but by the time you're 30, you should definitely be looking around. Um, so those are your 30 steps to career greatness, Mike Gaines. There were 30. Which one do you think you're at where uh, you've accomplished a meaningful amount, 75, 80% of the of what you perceive to be involved in really developing each stage?
Um, I would say leading level one, number 16.
All right.
Uh, like I said, there's areas, but I still, can touch on, but like you were saying, you're going to be touching on all these areas, even when you move up to keep it going. Um, Leading level one, I just look back at the other ones. I'm pretty sure I'm getting to the part where I'm looking into financial success, and better with the communication. Communication's pretty good, but I can work on that. And so still going down the list, but leading level one.
Excellent. Well, I agree. That's where you're at. In the course of things. Um, you definitely show up for the game. You had to go out and pick this path after picking some other paths that didn't work out. So that complete, done, level up.
Right,
uh,
right.
I would say generally your affairs are in order. I don't pretend to know you personally very well. We have hundreds of employees, so I apologize. It's tough for me to know all of you, and I don't necessarily feel good about that every day. Okay, I grew up in a smaller business, and like we knew everybody. I We went to the funerals of our family members, which were our family members, which were our staff employees. They're family.
Yeah.
So some of that's a little bit difficult for me, to be honest with you. But you seem to have your affairs in order. You show up and you're never disheveled. You show up on time. You seem to be able to make things happen. So I would say your home life is going good. You definitely show up for the game. There's no doubt about that. I think you have a pretty decent base of knowledge, but I'd put anybody in the company, just because of how complex we are, at under 25%,
Right.
really. Um, and and I'd love to see somebody really take the challenge and learn a lot, you know, know everything about it.
Yeah.
There's a few here that know maybe a little bit more than the 25%, and it's always impressive. So, and I'm not going to bore anybody watching this by going through every single one. You're going to give yourself a good financial challenge. I'm going to help you do that. And you're going to become way more aware of and have this expanded knowledge through everything that we do. You are definitely like 100% on the superior availability. I have, and I want to make a great point to anybody, out there right now in any job going, man, I should make more. Mike Gaines and I have been talking about doing this for, I don't know, 5 weeks.
Yep.
And every time that we had a chance to have a 5-minute discussion about it, it was, okay, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do this? And both of us just run, a million miles per hour all day long, taking
Yep.
care of clients, dealing with whatever comes up, managing people, etc. And eventually, it was Mike that said, yeah, let's just do this at Saturday at 11 a.m. because I can do that, and then I can stop by and check in with my team that afternoon,
Right.
and I can probably in the morning on a Saturday get away for an hour or two. It's like, if you want to actually impress your boss, Come up with something like, hey, I think we need a better guide to our staff of how they uh, progress in their careers here. And I'd like to participate in it, and I'm willing to come in after hours. In fact, this isn't our first meeting after hours, is it?
No, it's not.
All right. And putting all this together, and this is an original thing. This is not, you will not find this on the internet somewhere. This
Right.
is just, what we came up with and based on experience and where everybody's at. So before I end this, which I'm going to in exactly 9 minutes for a 2-hour presentation, we have to be under 2 hours or YouTube hates me. Here are some very important features you need to install in yourself. You had that 7 Series BMW on your dream list. You like it because of the features, and you should. It has a lot of features. You as a human need a couple of features. Let me put them out here, because if I did not have these features, I would not be where I am today. Period. End of story. It wouldn't even be close. Number one feature: know how to type and think freakishly fast. It's not hard. You can take a course. You got to be there. You got to be the fastest typer in the room. I am hardly ever not the fastest typer in the room on a keyboard. None of this voice to text, whatever. I can type ridiculously fast on my cell phone too, but that's a weird skill. You don't have to be that on a keyboard.
Right.
Number two, don't be a jerk, but don't be boring. Okay. Don't be too weird, but be a little eccentric. Don't be whiny, and don't put your issues on others. The minute you start putting your issues on others, you're not speaking to their best interest. You're speaking to their sympathies. You're preying on their sympathies, and you become worth less. Number three, don't be a liar. Don't be afraid to not know something. Those are both kind of very, very related. And if you don't know something, go seek it out, go
Right.
learn that, but do not say you know it or whatever. Enough said.
Right.
And number four, and this is just a real easy way to wrap it up: deliver every day. There is not, with where technology is today, with the ability to communicate, there is no reason why you shouldn't have access to your email wherever you're at, and just check in every once in a while. And the way it's previewed on your phone, you can see if something's urgent. You can scroll through a lot of stuff that you don't have to do that day.
Right.
And you can nail the one thing that, whoa, that might need a little bit of attention. I'm going to forward that off to this person, text them, hey, I just forwarded you one. Can you handle it? Great. Awesome.
Right.
Okay. Like, you can handle things that way. And there isn't one single human that can't take that 10 or 15 or 20 minutes on a day off to just make sure that everything's good. And that can be split up throughout the day too.
Right.
We sometimes forget that, we were a hunter-gatherer kind of species for a long time. There were no days off.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
A day off meant you did not eat, drink, and you might get killed by something.
Yes.
Yes. So, stop being all weak about it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And Mike, I'm going to end the show and stop sharing that. Mike, I'm going to let you have the last word. Did I cover everything that you wanted me to cover in this? And do you think it'll be valuable for everybody?
I think it will. From going over the list, it's like a 48 laws of power. It's 30 laws of power. It's 30 laws of come up. And when you actually follow those steps, I was speaking on it with my wife, and she was, okay, yeah, you need to look at that, and we need to do this. And like our financial challenge, we're doing that together. I remember I was telling you after going through this that I took it outside of the company just with myself and my life. And you can apply it to anything, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, it's 30 steps. It's 2 hours or less. And with that, we're going to let everybody go. If you want to learn more about residential warranty services or anything we do, you can go to residentialwarrantyservices.com or inspectionsuccess.net. And this will not be the last you hear from me and my leadership level on his way to a BMW 7 Series. I'm going to put a picture of this on social media when you get it and say, here's Mike's 7 Series,
Right.
because you're going to deserve it, and everyone needs to see it when it happens.
Yep.
So you'll hear from all of us again. Thank you for sticking with us for 2 hours, everybody.